Disney news. We got a lot of Disney news to talk about today on today's podcast. I'm super excited to talk to you guys about some Disney news that just came up through Bob Iger talking about it. I don't think he did any press conference. I don't even know how this news came out, but a lot of articles. If you just look up Disney news recently, it's a lot of good stuff about what's going on in the Walt Disney Company. So let's talk about it. Let's break it down. So first of all, this happened a couple weeks ago, but Splash Mountain at Magic Kingdom has closed. It is now time for Tiana's Bayou Adventure, which is going to be pretty interesting. I saw a post for the Walt Disney Imagineering that the queue line for that ride for the upcoming Tiana's Bayou Adventure is going to be pretty interesting. I didn't really understand what they were going for, but it looked like an interactive queue. So we got another interactive queue, kind of like sort of like Winnie the Pooh and Seven Dwarfs Mine Train ride. I'm really excited for Tiana's Bayou Adventure. I think that's going to be good. I'm not going to go into like Splash Mountain's closure and everything and all the politics and ideas behind that for Tiana. I'm just excited for something that's new coming to Disney. I think that's going to be a really interesting sort of ride. I have other ideas and concepts and thought processes about the whole idea, but really it doesn't really matter. I think it's going to be cool. I think it's going to be a cool new addition to the Magic Kingdom. And also they said that they're going to close all of the national Splash Mountains, either specifically talking about the United States or all over the world, because I think they have about 3 of them, right? This is the first one that they've closed, and the one that's still in Disneyland has yet to be closed. So it's going to be interesting how long they keep the Splash Mountain one open over in Disneyland. And I think they have one over in China or Hong Kong, China or Tokyo. And I don't think they've touched that one, or I'm not too sure if they have. But it's going to be pretty interesting for the future of the Walt Disney Company with the Splash Mountain closures, and what it means for the history and the future of the company as well. Disneyland Forward. So this is like a sort of idea, I guess, that Disney came out with, I think last year, but I haven't heard of this. It seems to be like a new Disneyland expansion, which is pretty interesting because they're right in the middle of a city, Anaheim, California, about an hour away from, or roughly away from Los Angeles. It seems like they're expanding into new territory around the area. I know in the surrounding area is mostly homes and parking, but I think that's what they're going to get into is parking. Obviously, you can't demolish homes. People live in them and people pay for them. But I wonder if Disney's plan is to expand into these parking lots, expand into these square blocks where like hotels are. They're going to buy out the hotel, or going to buy out different businesses and be part of the Disneyland expansion. It almost wonders, and I don't even think they could do this, but maybe in the future they want to make Disneyland more of a formidable kind of more than just a weekend retreat for people, and make it like a 3-day or 4-day park experience. Could you talk to the residential areas and residential communities and say, like, we will move you out of your house or something like that for us to have room in this square block? I don't know. I don't know if that's part of Disneyland Forward. I don't know if that's part of their plan. I don't even think they could like legally be able to do that, but I don't think that's out of Disney's reach. I also don't think it's out of Disney's financial ability to do that either. It's just something to think about. Maybe that's something along the lines that Disney's trying to do. But the Disneyland Forward idea, it seems pretty interesting. If you look it up, it's mostly based around Disneyland, but it's about new park expansions and new park things coming to the park. Which Tron Light Cycle Run in the Magic Kingdom and Tomorrowland is now having cast member previews. It's a lot of things that come out. I think it's the same exact ride as the one in Shanghai. So that's the same exact ride. So they can't expect anything different. But a lot of people are saying it's a little bit short. The line is very cool. The queue is very cool. It's pretty fast, but the ride is short. But like the whole atmosphere around it is cool. So I'm excited to see what that means and how all that works throughout the years of Disney. If it becomes like a staple in the Magic Kingdom, as it's probably going to become like the new Guardians of the Galaxy, where you have to like pay for Lightning Lane or Virtual Queue or something along those lines. But I think that's going to be interesting. They finally added something because Tomorrowland hasn't been really touched upon ever since Stitch's Great Escape closure. So I'm excited for Magic Kingdom at Walt Disney World for that new addition. Speaking of additions, they for part of a Disneyland Forward news, they have Bob Iger has announced that there's a new Avatar experience coming to Disneyland. Now, whether that means like the demolition of Grizzly Peak, I'm not too sure what all of that means. They might destroy other parts. They might change other things. They already changed Avengers Campus, and I probably won't really change much of Hollywoodland. But it's going to be a very interesting idea how they're going to get Avatar, because I don't think they're going to touch Disneyland, at least the specific park. They might touch DCA. It could be part of their expansion, their Disneyland Forward expansion towards the surrounding area of Disneyland, right across the street, or using a parking lot, changing that into. I don't think they would change it to the same Avatar experience or land that they have in Animal Kingdom, just because it's a different place and it's a lot smaller. So I think they would change it to like maybe a cool because you know how Animal Kingdom in Pandora, it's Morara Valley or Mara Valley or something along those lines. So it's like a specific place that they have placed in Pandora, on the planet of Pandora. They might have in Disneyland a different part of Pandora as part of Disneyland. It's still like the same IP, right? Same intellectual property, same franchises as Avatar, but it's a different location within their fictional world. I think something like that could be really cool, really, really cool. For Disney Hong Kong, they have a whole Frozen themed land set to open, yet I think it's very close to being open. I don't think it's as close as people think because they still have scaffolding. I'm sure they're, working on merchandise and getting cast members and things of that nature, but I'm really excited for what that's going to look like in Disney's Hong Kong. It's going to be cool because as they start coming out with big new lands, they've obviously had Galaxy's Edge, and they've also obviously had Pandora, and they obviously had Avengers Campus, which are 3 huge expansions. But what do they do like internationally? They've had their park set for Shanghai, Hong Kong, Paris, Tokyo, and things of that nature. Are they going to start adding cool new lands to those that you can't get somewhere in the States? And I think Frozen is the first one. Obviously, they had that like Tokyo Disney Sea and stuff like that. But is this part of like Disneyland Forward news? Is this part of are they going to add Frozen Land to Walt Disney World in Orlando in some way, shape, or form? Is this only going to be used for Hong Kong? Are they going to also put in Shanghai? I don't know. I think that's a pretty cool idea to put in for Disney Hong Kong. I'm excited for that. I mean, I don't think I'll ever be able to visit Disney Hong Kong, and I don't even know why I would want to go see a Frozen land. But I think something like that, like a German-inspired Arendelle, it's cool to see locations that you see in movies actually put into like the physical world, and pretty much only Disney can do that. Disney and Universal, but you know what I mean. We have sequels for new movies: Zootopia 2, Frozen 3, and Toy Story 5. Didn't they say that they were going to end the Toy Story franchise with number 4? Isn't that a thing? I thought that was like the whole plan of Toy Story 4 is they're going to end the franchise, but I guess they got to make it. They got to make it a 5-piece franchise for Toy Story. Again, I think it's their most profitable franchise, and I think it's the most well known. They even have Toy Story Land and Hollywood Studios, so I'm excited to see that. And that's obviously they say it's in the works, so we're probably not going to see them until like 2025, 2026. So that's pretty interesting for Zootopia and Frozen, Toy Story, pretty cool. But I don't want to end out the podcast on some dire news. But they have a 7,000 person layoff in the Walt Disney Company. I don't know if that's whether like in Disney World as like cast members, or that means in Disneyland as like, or maybe it's part of like their movies or something along those lines. But they're having 7,000 person layoffs within the Walt Disney Company. I can't really say I'm excited about that, but I've noticed that's definitely a thing throughout the United States going on, that the companies are not hiring. In fact, they're laying off a lot of employees. I think it's during the budget cuts and recession and things of that nature. Things are gas prices are getting higher, egg and milk prices are getting higher. So I think Walt Disney, you would think that the biggest company in the world, at least the biggest entertainment company in the world, wouldn't be subject to layoffs, but in fact they are, the budget cuts and things of that nature. So really interesting with all this different news and all this money that they're putting towards different more like lands and franchises and things in their parks. It's funny, and movies too. It's funny with all of these new and all this new news and all these new expansions and things of that nature, that they're actually, you would think they would hire more people, but in fact they're firing more people. Interesting how that works. Disney, interesting how that works. But I just like talking about Disney news. Hopefully this has been informative. My overall thoughts on this, I think that's pretty good. I don't think Disneyland needs an Avatar experience, but if you did, I don't want to toot my own horn, but if you did what I said and make it a whole different location than the Morara, I don't even know how to say it. The movie location that Pandora is based off of in Animal Kingdom. Maybe do something different. Maybe have a different landscape. Maybe it's more based on water than rock or something along those lines. Maybe not have the place where it's have floating rocks. Maybe have like more like seas or water, or like the big stone rings or something along those lines. That could be really cool in Disneyland. Splash Mountain closure, we all saw this coming for a while. They finally did it in Disney World, and it's gonna. I think they're gonna get started. They're not changing too much of the ride. They're not changing the actual mechanics because it's still a boat ride, right? They're just changing. It's more like an overlay, more like an overlay. But changes always come to Disney. Disney's a forever changing company, so interesting to see how that works. Frozen Land, Disney Hong Kong, and excited for that. Excited to see what that actually comes about. If they have like a new nighttime show, if they have they have sequels, obviously planned for Frozen. So if they have like new locations or new characters, I'm assuming that they would join alongside Disney Hong Kong in that land and themed area. Overall, I think that Disney is obviously is a forever changing company, but I think overall all this news that we've collected in the last couple of days and weeks, it's fairly interesting. Disney's always changing, and probably tomorrow there's going to be more news about Disney and Disney parks. But I would honestly say like everybody like follows Disney news, but I would say follow the Disney Imagineering Instagram profile. I really like their profile. I like how they do their videos. I think it's really interesting. I like how they go more in depth rather than just announcing that they have new things. They show you drone footage of themed lands that they're working on. Usually Disney doesn't like to show what they're working on or how it all works or whatever. But the Disney Imagineering, not that they give any Disney secrets away, because it's still a Walt Disney ran Instagram profile. But it's interesting to see like drone footage of the Frozen Land that still has scaffolding up. It's seeing like it actually come to life. It's pretty interesting. Cool Instagram profile for that. So thank you guys so much for listening. Thank you guys so much for tuning in and hearing my voice and hearing me rant about Disney news. It's a lot of fun to be back podcasting and doing these types of things. Thank you guys so much for watching and listening. I'll see you guys in the next one.